I'm always a fan when an anime episode ends and it's like, oh my god, this character's clearly not making it out alive, wink wink nudge nudge, only for collectively the community to know they about to, in this case anyway, rip through that big fish stomach. It's supposed to be a kraken, but I just really think it's a giant looking fish. But I mean, Vegeta's he's stuck in a sticky situation. But whether it's, getting swallowed up by a big monster or something about to hit a character, there's no way to make it out alive. You don't need to know that, well, in timeline fashion of where Dragon Ball Daima takes place overall in the entire continuity. Yeah, like, sure, we know he's gonna come back. But at the same time, it doesn't change the fact that it's a very fun cliffhanger that, there's a couple different ways they might take it. Ever since I saw this big quote-unquote kraken-like beast, I've been waiting for a character to get swallowed by it, and then for one of these flying characters to rip through it. I really hope we get that because I've just been waiting for it, but maybe it's a foolish hope. But the past few episodes of Dragon Ball Daima, since I last talked about it on the channel, been watching it, of course. As you know, I talk about all these episodes on Patreon weekly. Unfortunately, it's just this isn't that popular for YouTube. Been very good reveals though. So it's kind of crazy to think that within a few episodes of me not talking about it, we end up with Majin Kuu, and then shortly after, we end up with Majin Buu. At this point, I'm just hoping we get a third sibling. I don't know if we can have a sister sibling, but give me Majin Sue and the show be cooking. Anyway, I got full live reactions over on Patreon. If you want to see my full length of thought to any of these episodes, it's going to be over there exclusively. I think we're going to mainly talk about episode 11, but some of what I'm going to talk about ties into the past couple episodes as well, especially given, everything that's happened with Majin Kuu. So that stuff is actually probably my favorite content that we've gotten out of the past few. I just think it's so interesting with how ultimately they're born. Like, it really just starts with putting a seed in some magic soil, saying the right words, pouring some water, and we end up with a baby. This is like, I just love how silly it is at face value, but like given the monstrosities they sometimes feel like, it just kind of works. So the whole idea is that this woman, she's actually being relatively smart about it. She's like, hey, if we just kind of steal the Dragon Balls and I become Demon Lord, I probably won't be Demon Lord for too long. Like, I won't have the strength to protect my title. Respect. I will give props where props is due. So at first, she makes Majin Kuu, who comes in and challenges one of the three guards, one of the Dragon Balls that is still out there, right? Because of course, Goku has one and two are currently still active. And initially, it actually was looking pretty good for her, and then it quickly wasn't, and Majin Kuu's like, nah, I'm good, boss, and ran away. So what do? Well, we don't got the skills yet, we'll add in another sibling, because I guess the way it does work, no matter what, it's always a one-on-one fight, unless you really wanted to cheat, but I don't know if they would even allow that. Because, I mean, at least if you follow the rules, I mean, even if you lose, you can probably challenge again. So then we end up with Majin Buu, who's just, I don't even know. In the latest episode, this man, I think at least 3 different times, used his ass as an attack, crotch attack, and then at times his head, like, went Earthworm Jim style into his neck and then pop it. Weird entity, and Kuu just, I don't, this is probably the most shocking thing that happened in probably the past few episodes. So the new sibling is like, I want chocolate. So then Kuu walks over to Mama Dearest and says, give me money for the store. And the craziest part is he runs back with chocolate. Now, I was under the impression this floating island we were on with old Witch Granny was kind of us isolated. Apparently there's a goddamn store. This is why I love Dragon Ball, man. It just pulls the most insane shit out of thin air, and it just works every time for me. And obviously then we end up with Vegeta going up against the other one that is fighting. And given that it doesn't just have to rely on Goku's shoulders, so Goku probably could fight right now, but letting the boy have a bit more rest and, recover for whatever big battle's going to be approaching. It actually is kind of looking good for the Majins, so they might actually end up getting the Dragon Ball, and then we'll have to fight them for it. But either way, just crazy stuff. Like, the production has held up so good. I still have no idea how many episodes this is going to be. The way they're approaching, especially this episode, you would swear it's a one core. Not in the way that it's 12 or 13 episodes, but I could see how, pacing-wise, you could do it in 15, but I'm still assuming it's a 2-core, and I really hope so, because they're doing a great job with world building, exploration, and everything. So fun. And yeah, the production is insane. Every single episode Literally every single episode. The first episode, I'm willing to say, wasn't crazy with action. There was like a quick, like, 2-second fight from what I remember, but like 2 onwards has had a decent length fight every single episode. Are some fights better produced than others? Yes. The around episode 3 or 4 when they had that Cowboy Bebop like bar level fight, or Goku going up against one of these, protector of the Dragon Ball. Stuff like that is, yes, technically better animated than some other stuff, but when it's, I guess you could say, at its worst visually, there's still more in between frames than a lot of these shows you would expect to have in their main fight. You keep up with all the attacks, you feel like, oh my god, like, I just remember how people used to share shit when, like, Dragon Ball Super was airing, and it felt like every 3 weeks, something big would happen where people would be like, oh my god, I can't believe the animation. And at face value, maybe this show doesn't have that same wow factor all the time. Like, I think there's been a couple of times where I think it deserves that wow factor, as maybe Super did, just based on, like, at face value what I saw, people, like, how they were talking, because, like, there's not as much maybe glowing effects or, just different, like, big level things. But if you're looking at Dragon Ball as actually keeping up with its hand-to-hand combat, battle choreography, this show is legitimately weekly delivering insane action. It's just different than maybe what you saw the last time Dragon Ball came around. But as I've been seeing since literally the first couple episodes dropped, is people who grew up on, not Dragon Ball Z, but grew up on Dragon Ball, and saying, like, this is the most original feeling anime that we've had. Like, it goes back to its roots, and it's fantastic. Like, we've definitely had some more explosive visual flair in these handful of episodes, but at the same time, the thing that I personally, and maybe that's why I like the show more than maybe some people are, because I prefer hand-to-hand combat where you keep up and you actually feel like it's a martial arts anime rather than a battle shonen anime trying to throw the bigger energy ball at the other. That shit's cool, but the reason the action has been so good, and I think feels so, I don't know, at times Cowboy Bebop, at times I feel like Jackie Chan's on screen, man. It works for me personally. Maybe it doesn't for everyone, that's fine, but I definitely think this show has been criminally underappreciated. Now, I think most people who actually are keeping up with it weekly in good faith are appreciating it to a decent degree. I just think a lot of people wrote it off because these kids were, well, kids now, but based on how they're implying things, it does feel like probably the last handful of episodes, whatever that will be them back in adult form, and then we'll go kick Goma's ass, but I guess time will tell. You let me know your thoughts and feelings, though. What have you been thinking of Dragon Ball Daima, especially over the past few weeks? I'm really liking what they're doing with the Majin twins here, but you let me know your thoughts down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course, ring that bell, and like I mentioned, we got those full live reactions over on Patreon, and hey, while you're over there, I'll just give you a video shout out. Alright, so today we got Bryant, Sleepfish, Gabrielle Ray, Zeon 54th Element, Wayne Delquist, Juicium, and we also have Marco-san. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care, and you all have a good one.